Sending your kid to school and with the hope that they'll come back home and they'll come back smarter, but you can get that smartness of what we thought was smart for less than $20 a month. AI can help with everything. It's just up to you to decide. I don't think that business owners should be focusing on how quickly AI is changing. Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to Amplify AI. Everyone's focused on AI and are looking at, and everyone's reporting as well on AI. They're feeling like they have to implement the newest and greatest stuff. But at the end of the day, for the people that we serve, all we should be caring about is how more accurately and more effectively and more efficiently can we deliver the promise we are making on our websites. So if we're saying that we deliver X, Y, and Z and transformation to these kind of people, then are we using the data, the information? And the school system is a great example of that, right? So we're still sending our kids to school to study something that we know is outdated because we don't have a better option. And they're not really teaching them much. And, you're actually sending your kid to school and with the hope that they'll come back home and they'll come back smarter. But, you can get that smartness of what we thought was smart for, less than $20 a month. So there's a lot changing. And I think it's key to probably set a foundation here and say, what's the goal? And for me, I feel like for us entrepreneurs, we got into entrepreneurship to solve meaningful problems. So if we are saying that we're going to solve this meaningful problem and this is the outcome we're delivering, are we doing everything we can to deliver that outcome more effectively, more efficiently, more ethically, quicker, faster? If you look at entrepreneurship as in general, the same goes with AI. And the biggest jump from solopreneur to entrepreneur is because we cannot adequately express what's in our heads to this new person, whether the first person we hired, second person we hire. We kind of have this idea that they should know these things. So there's this gap or this alignment. It's called the value alignment problem. It's the same thing happens with AI. Even for the people that are good at delivery and not good at attract and convert, being exposed to the bro marketers is a huge advantage because you can now execute that at speed, being the person you are in terms of being focused on delivery, because you can actually get some of the tactics that they're using. And you know what? AI can help with everything from attract to convert to deliver to scale to operations to recruitment, communication. It's just up to you to decide or to actually stop and think, what's held my business back all this time? Where can I go with AI to actually go past that point that I've not been able to do before? For all those people that are going, well, there's multiple views of the universe that are possible. And if I use AI, there's all those possibilities open up. And it could potentially, stop people from executing. I have a different way of looking at it. If you like a cup of coffee made in a certain way, and we both have different views of the world, and you say to me, hey Ronsley, can you make me a cup of coffee? The chances of you getting that cup of coffee is very small the way you like it. But if you say to me, hey Ronsley, can I get a cup of coffee and I'll like it made like this, do step 1, 2, 3, the chances of you getting the cup of coffee the way you like it is very, very high. So use AI like that. If you've been in business for a decade, you've got processes that already work. Build on those processes. And if you're asking AI to do something, don't give it free rein, because just like you and I coming together to talk about anything, we've got all these different viewing points. But if you already have data on what works for your clients, what works for bringing leads into your business, what works for delivering to the clients that pay the money or getting the transformation that you're saying that you want to deliver to them, if you already know those things, then use AI and give it the process rather than asking AI to come up with its own. So there's a distinction there. It comes down to focusing on what you don't know and what you don't have versus what you already know and what you already have. And the tendency is to stand on this mountain of value and look at the next mountain and go, wow, that's really cool. And then you get off this mountain and start climbing a new mountain all over again. It feels really hard rather than, really like going, oh, I've got all this value. I already know this. I don't have to start again. I don't have to get off this mountain. I just have to start climbing from where I am already. And I'll get even better results rather than getting off this height and starting all over again. So this is coming back all the way about if we feel like we're getting left behind with the AI and everything changing, I suppose. I don't think that business owners should be focusing on how quickly AI is changing. I think they should be focusing on the business goals that they have and how can they get that result. And you can get that result without the new technology that's coming out much, much better than you can trying to figure out a new technology. If you're just learning AI, there's so much you don't know. I meet people every week who say, Ronsley, I am really good with AI. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. And I'm like, that's basic. That's basic. Like that's just that's fundamental to how AI operates. So how are you going out and claiming AI expertise when you don't know these fundamentals? So, if someone's looking to kind of use AI properly, I think getting someone who knows what they're doing and how it actually works to use it in context of where they are in business. And that's going to make a huge difference just in general, just straight away, rather than you having to find out what prompts are working. And it's definitely not about the prompts. It's more about the process of how you get the result. That's why if you say this is the framework I'd like you to apply, you get a way better result because it knows what you're trying to achieve. So what are you seeing with your clients and where you think they need most help when it comes to execution, and what are ways that AI could help them get there? In business, I feel we get wrong is we allow AI to even disrupt our thinking of what focus looks like. And I'm asking everyone to not do that. I'm asking everyone, you already have your focus and stick with your focus, because as a leader, the only thing that you can potentially give everyone is focus, better than anything else. And give them that focus. And then you can up that focus by allowing them to do things that only you could potentially do with AI. The best way to get more profitable, more efficient, more quicker, more with where you're at right now is to train your people on how to use AI in a way that they can do their job better. Because if you're saying that you really care about your people, then it shouldn't necessarily be how profitable is the goal. It should be, could I give my team a 4-day work week? Could I train them with AI that they could do all their tasks better, quicker, faster, and could take a day off? Because in general, leaders say we care about our people, but the actions don't really align with the words. So I feel like rather than complicating the future, let's go for the future that you already have and make everyone aware of what that goal is. Because if you don't know what winning looks like, no amount of strategy is going to help, because you're always not going to win because it's always a moving target. And then once you have your target and you know where your focus is, empower everyone to be competent. And you can today, because AI can just be your sidekick. We are still treating human resources like we're in the industrial revolution. We're still kind of going, if we give them AI, they could get lazy and could not be productive. But what we're giving them AI so that they can have a better life, so they can be more human, not be more machine-like. So the industrial revolution happened and allowed us to have industry. So because of that, it allowed us to do the same things over and over again. And then we expected humans to do that because, we're still developing the machines. And now the machines have gotten smart enough that it can do these repetitive work. Talking about the CEOs that are kind of worried about replacement. The roles that will get replaced are the CEOs or the leaders who don't do these three things. They don't have courage, they don't have connection, and they don't have collaboration. Because everything else can be done. Everything else can be done by the machines. You also said at the start about how everyone's looking at content or marketing as the use case for AI. That's because they're trying to sweep under the rug the thing that they don't want to do, which is need for them to be brave. They don't want to put themselves in a position that courage is required. So let's hide behind something else. And let's use AI as a distraction and start talking about all the new things that are coming up with AI. Allow your team to do things themselves rather than rely on you. So instead of you kind of going, oh, let me take over, in those instances right now with AI, you have such a great opportunity to say, well, why don't you look at different options and come back to me? There's no better time to right now ask your people to be better leaders and empower them to be better leaders. And as a result, by the way, it's not about like telling them, it's more about you showing them what it takes and I think it starts with reality, which is, AI is not going away. I think in general, when it comes to leaders and the people that report to the leaders, a perspective shift is really important. And then a shift in application of how you get the same results. I mean, you were talking about podcasts. We've been doing podcasts for like 13 years now, probably longer. We had 7 full-time transcribers on our team, and we had 14 content writers. Now we have 0 transcribers because over in the last year, we've gotten AI transcribers that are really good. And as of this month, we're not even paying for transcription anymore because it's freely available. If you think about if your job title at one point was transcriber, that really doesn't exist anymore. Things are going to change. And I don't want to put like this nice veil over things and say that it's not. It's changing very quickly. And it's primarily because you can get the result faster, quicker, better. So why not use that? Why not like really make that the focus and then empower your people who report to you to allow them to focus on that same outcome? Because if they're focusing on that outcome, you're allowed to focus on vision. You're allowed to focus on other things that are really make you the person to lead. The key to using AI really well as a leader is to see inside us, look at what's stopping us, look at what our limitations are. I'm talking from experience. I've put out over 1,500 podcasts over the last 15 years. And in the middle of last year, I think it was in August or something, Gary said to me straight up, he's like, dude, you're not putting out enough content. I'm like, what? What an accusation to make. Are you kidding me? What I did as a result of that was I decided internally that I was going to become a student of attention for the next 3 years. That was my goal. So I knew that I was going to become a student of attention, and I was not going to abdicate that to Facebook ad experts, to content people, to Reels people, to all these other people that I have been doing in the past. For example, I get more messages now that my content is authentic than I've ever gotten. And I have to break news to them to say it took me 15 seconds and AI wrote a lot of this. But it's true. I just want to be honest that it can write so much better than I can write. My weakness was there where I, would abdicate that to a content writer, which I've taken back. And not only have I taken back, I have taken back, created a process and an AI to then empower my team to write the way I want it to be written, in my voice, in my style, in my XYZ. The second thing I've done is I've always abdicated Facebook ads to others and spend thousands of dollars. So I was like, let me take that back as well. Let's not be afraid of Facebook ads, Ronsley. So I paid a Facebook ad expert like $500 an hour. And I'm like, teach me everything you know. And taught me all the basics. And I used AI to apply a lot of the basics. And now we're getting leads. This is all me, by the way. There's no Facebook ad company. This is all Ronsley. And to take that over, I was scared. Because what if I try again myself and fail? I have to abdicate again to someone else. But with AI, I could plug all these gaps and I could figure it out and I could understand and I could learn. So now I have no problem in giving it to someone and tell them exactly how I want it and how to achieve it.
Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI geeks by going to amplifyais.com. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.